What's up, all my successful people? Just wanted to check in and say hello to everybody and go over a couple questions that one of my mentees had for me. She is looking to rent out one of her properties and had some questions. We just finished up here our weekly meeting. We went over a seller finance. One of the guys in the group, Don, has a property that he needs to sell and has been having some issues, so we decided to go the seller finance route, and he's probably going to double his earning potential on that property through actually setting up a note and collecting interest payments. So I'll get into these questions right here in a second. One thing I wanted to kind of mention too, I've been thinking about the past couple of days, is as we end 2018 and go into 2019, in order to get different results, we have to sometimes do things different. So we have to be willing to kind of change up our mindset and do things in a different manner. And that's one thing that my mentee has done. She's a young lady up in Ohio. We met through one of the Facebook groups, and she wanted to, actually she reached out to me based on some marketing I was doing on one of my other students' pages, and now she's leasing out her first property, and she had a couple questions that she had for me. The first one was tenant screening, and hopefully this will add some value to you guys. It's not anything too high level, just some real basic information, but will probably help you if you're going to be doing any landlording or renting out your property. So number one is tenant screening. She wasn't real sure how to do that or go about it, and one of the things that the software that I use is cozy.co, and they do background checks, credit checks, and for about $40 they'll do both of those, so that you don't have to worry about it. You send a link to the tenant, they pay, and then once they complete the documents, then it's emailed to you, and then you can make a decision if you're going to lease to that tenant or not. Next is rental agreements. If you go to your local real estate or realtor website, they'll have access or links to local rental agreements, and that's what I always do. Whatever city I'm leasing a property in, if I'm doing the agreement myself, I just go to the realtors, the state realtors, state of board of realtors website, find the link for rental agreements, fill it out, put my signatures, have my tenant sign, and you're ready to go. Number three, one of the questions she had was the guy that she wanted to lease to did maintenance at an old apartment she used to live in, so she felt it would be a good idea to let him do the maintenance on the property that he'll be leased from her. Two schools of thoughts here. Sometimes it's a great idea because you can save money, but I've seen a lot of nightmares in this, so I usually encourage against it. I usually discourage letting your tenants do maintenance on the property they're renting from you, for the simple fact that sometimes they're not very good at doing the maintenance. Number two, sometimes they don't complete it, and if they ever start a project and don't complete it and then leave the property and they've done it incorrectly, then you have to pay to fix what they did incorrectly, and then you also have to get it completed. So you end up sometimes paying double. So most times it's just cheaper to have a maintenance crew come in and do the maintenance and let the tenant be the tenant and hire a maintenance person. That's kind of what I choose to do, and that's what I recommend to my students or anyone that may ask me that question. So kind of the two schools of thought. You can decide which way works best for you. The next was entity setup. Does she need an LLC for one rental property? Most cases, not really, but you need to consult with your own accountant and real estate attorney to decide what's going to work best for you. LLCs do offer you a amount of liability, limited exposure. So sometimes it is a good idea. But again, you need to talk to your legal team to determine if that's going to be the best for you. My first couple of properties, I didn't put in an LLC. Now, my goal is to have all my properties in an LLC. And my attorney recommended, depending on the regions that I have properties in, to set it up by region with no more than 10 properties per LLC. Some people do LLCs per property. So it just kind of depends. You have to come up with a plan that you feel comfortable with and that you and your legal team can decide is going to work best for your financial goals. So LLC versus S Corp, again, LLCs are usually easier to set up, less paperwork, and for holding property. S Corps are usually for a different type of real estate businesses. So again, talk to your legal team. We do certain level of marketing. So for marketing income, salaries and things of that sort, they recommend doing that with the S Corp and hold real estate inside of the LLCs. Last question was, she was talking about professionalism and as she does marketing and how she should present herself. Starting out, I always recommend presenting yourself as professionally dressing for success. A lot of people, after they achieve a certain level of success, they kind of find their stride and they can decide how they want to dress, how they want to talk. One great example, me and one of the other guys in the group were discussing the other week, was Gary Vee. If you don't know Gary Vee, look him up on YouTube. He has some great content on social media marketing, how to scale your business with social media. But what you'll notice is that Gary uses a lot of profanity, but Gary also runs a multi-million-dollar marketing company, so he kind of writes his own checks. When you're making $100,000 per speech, you can kind of decide how you're going to talk. And if people don't like it, you don't have to tailor your business based on what their desires. But when you're starting out, you need to probably be a little bit more professional. You have to, watch your words, because you're trying to gain traction and establish yourself. So you have to pay a little bit more attention to professionalism, speaking appropriately, not offending people, etc. So those are just 5 or so points that my mentee had. And I just wanted to share them with you. Maybe you can get a little bit of value out of that. I appreciate you guys watching. Feel free to reach out to me soon. I love to talk real estate, business development, marketing, etc. Anything real estate, I enjoy talking about it. So thanks again for watching. All the best as we end up 2018 and go into 2019. And remember, in order to get something different, you have to be willing to do something different. God bless.